Oh, yes.
Where's Rachel? Where is she? Where'd you... Harvey? Where did you put her? Where did Harvey put Rachel? Hello. Hello. You're watching Nerdish. I lost my shoe. You gotta put your shoe back on. Very good. What are we doing here? Well, we do SAT, ACT prep for everyone. Yes, and the question is not where is Rachel, but when. 8 to 9:30 p.m. That's when Rachel is. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Watch it. Just see what it's like. It's for free. All week long. You can ask us questions like where's Rachel and what you do with Rachel and where is Harvey Dent. They're both studying for the SAT. It's a very important test if you want to go to college or university. Nice. I should have said university first because it rhymes. Oh, that's Catwoman. That's okay. I think we know Catwoman because we're Batmen. Let's do a problem. Yeah. We did exponents last time. What should we do? Let's factor a quadratic. Okay. Man, when it comes to education, I'm an addict. Oh my god, but not that kind of addict. No, just a quadratic addict. I hope this is factorable. Oh, it's gonna be factorable. Add 6. Okay. 6 is for Rachel. Alright. Let's take out a 2. Let's make it equal to 0. That's a good idea. Okay. So let's factor 2. X squared minus 2. How much time do we have before Rachel explodes? Ask Harvey. Harvey. Multiply to positive 3, add to negative 2. I don't think that's possible. Oh, shoot. That's okay. Sometimes you can't factor quadratics. And sometimes you can't save Rachel. I was about to say that. I'm so sorry. No, it's good. It shows that we're tight bonded, like Tight Bond, original wood glue. It has a tight bond, like me and Levi.
Welcome to Noidish. I'm Boydish, Brady. That didn't really work at all. Levi's going to the bathroom.
That's not true.
It was true. It's no longer true. Now he's coming from the bathroom. Levi is what you say is what we call like late, and bad at being places on time.
But I'm not pregnant. It's not that kind. Oh wait, that's different.
What are you doing?
Never mind. Don't worry about it. It would have been fine.
I don't know what that even means.
Oh really? That's fine.
Like you're late for your due date?
Where are you going? Okay. We're back. I don't know. Here, I'm gonna delete that.
Okay. All right.
Technical difficulties.
Sorry, minor technical difficulties, but we're back with you. So we're going to be talking about all sorts of fun stuff today, just like every day. Stream crashed? You could say that. Yeah, Slayer Darth. But the stream is back up and running, and it's running stronger than ever. We're all pretty excited about it. Slayer Darth, do you have any questions? There's an SAT coming up this Saturday. Are you taking it? Or are you taking the SAT next weekend? Or are you taking neither? Or are you taking neither? Hello, Hono.
Hono.
Hono's here. Yay, Hono. Woo. Levi and I love Hono. Collectively. Individually, we don't. But as a group, we love Hono. Either of you two bozos got questions? I am not taking neither examination. All right. So wait, if you're not taking neither, I think that means you're taking one of them? Because it's like a double negative.
Or does it mean that they're taking both?
I'm not taking either. It could be one, at least one. But I guess there's a school in London. Actually, yeah, Levi and I were going to talk about that today. Is you guys should all consider taking the SAT at a school in London. Schools in London offer really, really good SATs. The overall experience. Oh, we have a question.
Ask it very quickly.
Yes, we will answer it extremely quickly.
Is this annoying you at all? This?
The garbage on the screen?
Mm-hmm.
Mildly, yeah. We should probably clean that up.
I'll deal with it.
What? Well, there was supposed to be a quick question. What is it?
Maybe in comparison to how long we wait for the question, it's a very quick one.
What is the best way to name my variables when using algebra to solve age problems? Very good question. You're talking about like Lori is twice the age of her daughter Miranda. Things like that. There's one person using the age problem. Yeah, if they have names, then just use the first letter of their names. If they don't have names, try to write up at the top of your paper like X equals person 1's age, Y equals person 2's age, just so you have that as a record. But I'm a big fan of using letters that actually stand for the things that you're trying to label.
So Hona, why are you taking the ACT? Was it because you're not feeling strong on the SAT? OnlineMathLearning.com, age problems, HTML.
All right, I'll try to. Wait, hold on.
My guess is that's not going to be... Oh, no, it is specific stuff. Okay, great. Oh, so I guess the Discord is...
Number 5 at the bottom. Oh, you can just pull it up there.
Hmm?
You're going to pull up the link right there?
Yeah, in the Discord. Or on this
Twitch,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can't just click on it?
Well, it will... Oh, I don't know.
You're probably taking the ACT because your guidance person told you to. That's my bet. All right, question number 5 at the bottom of the page. Oh, go up a little bit.
Ah, okay. Wait.
All right, yeah, you want to pull that up?
Yeah.
Very exciting.
We're gonna go.
You're talking about the Lauren one, right? Lauren and Andrew? Oh, yeah, so you're probably... Well, naming your variables should be easy for this one. You should have L for Lauren, A for Andrew, S for Sam. Making the equations. I tried using the X variable for all the persons involved in the question. My workings usually begin. Well, right, because X... There are 3 different variables here. So if you use X, that's only one value. You can put things in terms of each other. So like, okay, let's turn this. So let's start with the first sentence. So Lauren is, that's going to be L is equal to 3 less than twice Andrew's age. All right. You might think that's going to be 3 minus 2a, but it's going to be 2a minus 3. Because finding 3 less than something means taking something and subtracting 3 away. Okay? So this 3 less than is a huge obstacle for a lot of students, but it's the thing twice Andrew's age and then minus 3. So this is your first equation. All right, 4 years from now, Sam will be 2 more than twice Andrew's age. Okay, so Sam will be 2 more than twice Andrew's age. Okay, so twice Andrew's age is 2a. 2 more would be adding 2. And then we have to add 4 more. To, let's see, 4 years from now. So Sam's age plus 4. That's right. 4 years from now is going to be Sam's current age plus 4. That's how you find Sam's age 4 years from now. You add 4 to it. 5 years ago, so now we're going to take Sam and we're going to subtract 5. So 5 years ago for Sam, that would be equal to 3 times Andrew's age, so 3a. How old was Lauren 5 years ago? Oh, interesting. So Levi did a good job of writing out what our variables stand for. We're trying to find Lauren's age 5 years ago, so our goal here is finding L minus 5. Slayer Darth, has everything I put on the board so far made sense? Translating sentences into equations can be tough sometimes. This is a very conceptual problem. Like 4 years from now, Sam's age. It's kind of tricky. S plus 4. Once this perfectly... Oh, Slayer Darth, you slay me. But that's we know that about you. That's what you do. All right, we have 3 variables, L, A, and S, and we have 3 equations, which means we're able to solve this thing for all the ages. Okay? I think if the age problem involves 2 people, then I'm still okay to use the X variable. No, wait. When you're saying use the x variable, there are two people here, so there are two missing values. So you simply can't use one variable. You need to use two variables, one for one person's age and one for the other person's age. If there's only one person, then you can just use x. So, yeah, I'm not sure. You wouldn't be able to use just one variable for two people.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the issue is with naming variables, but x is something that we just happen to use a lot, but you never have to use the variable x. You never have to use any... It's a variable. It's a placeholder for a value. So, or for any value, I guess. So generally, you just want to use something that is relatively representative, like A for Andrew, S for Sam. But we default to x a lot of the time.
I saw some YouTube video about why it's x, and it has to do with like the translations over the millennia of like algebra from the Islamic Empire that it came from to, I don't know, to when it was translated into Latin or something like that. The letter they used like resembled x or something, so that's just kind of what we use now. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to actually solve this, Slayer Darth, or are you okay? And you understand that you can't use one variable for two people? Very good. Yeah, that seems like it's fine. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yes as in you want me to solve this, or yes as in you understand?
The classic.
What exactly do you want now? Can we move on, or would you like me to solve this? This is just a system, use substitution, not the letter U substitution, but use substitution in order to solve it. Youths.
Youths substitution.
Yes.
The substitution of the youths.
With other youths?
Yes.
Okay.
How the youths these days substitute.
Youths?
Youths.
Nice. Slay a doth. Yeah, thanks. You can move on. I just want to confirm naming practices. Very good.
Oh no, questions? Any questions, Hono?
Yeah, Hono, you've always got great questions. Maybe what you said at the beginning wasn't that bad.
Your legit math homework. All right, is it related to the SAT or ACT? Because we're happy to talk about those underlying concepts.
As long as they're underlying.
I don't know. I feel like... Is that like a bad thing to say? I don't know. Is that like a commonly bad thing?
I don't think it's as bad as some other things you've said.
It's not. That's true.
Yeah, it's not at all.
All right, we can talk about it then. Yeah. Toss it in the Discord. Let me do any of these.
Maybe I overreacted, but...
No, but it's true. I need to think less before I speak.
Yes, that's what you need to do. Yeah. From now on, no thinking, just speaking. Reflection afterward. And course correct for the future. Except don't think at all in the future either. Let's see. Yeah, is Hano going to send... What are you're on the SAT Discord.
There we go, something.
Go.
Oh, yeah, Hono.
There we go.
Literally the math.
Very good. Hey, I just said that.
Do
you want numbers 20 and 21, please? Oh, big time. We were hoping it was going to be 20 and 21. We're so glad it's those numbers. Right, Levi?
Yes.
Very good.
20 and 21? Okay, let's do 20. Wait. You guys see that?
Are there... Levi.
Hey.
Oh, jeez.
That's pretty bad.
Are you going to... Well...
Maybe I'll try this.
Wait, you're going to need the answers as well.
Oh, there are answers, dude.
Yeah, it says which of the following.
Why didn't you think of that? This is the worst way I could have done this.
Yeah.
I didn't know it would be so pixelated. I just don't like having the work there that Hono did.
Right.
Do you?
You gotta use Alt, dude.
Not what I want.
Ah, there you go. Having a lot of trouble there, man.
I had a lot more trouble than I
Not your
should've.
best crop job.
Not my best crop job.
There we go.
Okay. So, which binomial is not a factor? Okay, right off the bat, with these types of things, you can plug in values. If you have variables in the question and variables in the answers, and it's set, it doesn't limit your x, then you can choose any value of x, and if it's going to work for what's given here in variable form, that's not really a thing, but in variable form, then it'll have to work when x is 0. So I like doing that. Just plug in 0. If you plug in 0 for the given expression, all of the first couple of terms go away. You just get left with 84. So when x is 0, the beginning expression is 84. Then number 1 is x plus 2. So that means that when x is 0, a is 2. Is 2 a factor of 84? Yes, it is.
They're all factors of 84.
Is 7 a factor of 84?
Yeah.
Blast. Then let's do 1 and do the same thing.
Okay.
I'll do that if you want to actually do the problem.
Sure.
That's useless, bird.
What?
Me.
No, it's fun. I didn't realize it was going to be that way until it was too late.
One minus 11. This is not going to fit. Oh, you rely too much on your calculator. Yeah, this is not really a good question for a calculator at all. I mean, you could graph it and then see which of these is the x-intercept.
Yeah,
you could do that.
And that's kind of what I'm heading here for. So, like, for testing the first one, for example, if x plus 2 is a factor, then that tells us that one of the solutions is going to be negative 2. So if you can plug negative 2 in and the output is 0, then x plus 2 works. All right, do you understand the connection between factors and solutions? Because we can talk about them. So I'll try plugging negative 2 in right here and see if that works. What? Are they still all factors?
Not all of them, but most of them. No, they're all factors.
All of them?
Well, 3 and 4 are negative, but yeah, they're all factors still.
What about 7?
Yeah, because when you plug in 1, you get negative 6, and this thing evaluates
6.
to 90.
But
So
I try to factor the expression at first, it doesn't work. Yeah, not all expressions are factorable. So let's see. Would this one actually be factorable? You'd have to take out x squared, then it'd be x minus 11. And I don't think you could take out... How many times does 16 go to 84, Levi? It's only not 11 times.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
11.
So this is not factorable, but it doesn't mean that... It's not factorable the way that you're used to factoring. Each problem, you are right. Much easier with separate variables. Yes, not only is it much easier, it is impossible with one variable. Very good, very good.
Good stuff.
Absolutely.
That is beautiful.
That's very fun. That's very fun. I like it. There's a lot of different ways to do this problem. So let's see. I'm just going to try doing what we would normally do for factoring just to show you where the wheels fall off the wagon. So you'd want to do factor by grouping here. So you think about the first two terms. You take out x squared because that's what they both have in common. You have x minus 11. You have to be able to take out x minus 11 over here for this to work. So to match up with plus 16x, this would have to be minus 16. But minus 16 times negative 11 is not going to give you 84. So this is just simply not factorable. Plus 16x. Right, exactly. Plus 16x and that exactly. So it's not factorable with factor by grouping. It might be factorable a different way, but this is testing your ability to understand how to test factors in general. So we're plugging in negative 2 and seeing if that works. And there's another way to do this that we'll go over in a second. Thank you. How's the number testing going?
I don't like it at all.
You don't like it at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
1 doesn't help at all.
All right, so this is going to be negative 8, and this is going to be plus 20. No. It's going to be positive 4, so minus 44. Minus 32. Hold up. Are you guys doing either polynomial long division or synthetic division in your class? Because if you guys are talking about those strategies, this is a question that I think your teacher would probably want you to use those on. But we will still keep working on these things here. All right, so negative 8 minus 44. minus 32 is going to be negative 52 minus 32. Oh, okay. So this one works. This is minus 84 plus 84. All right. So the point is negative 2 works. So they're asking which one's not a factor. X plus 2 is a factor. So we can knock that out because that works. Yes, so it's not going to be that one. We've done those. Okay, so I'll show you what I would do in this case. Levi doesn't like synthetic division because it's not as applicable in other situations, but if you're dividing by a linear factor like this, it's the faster way to do it. Sorry to throw into the bus there. We have a long-standing gripe about polynomial line division. Okay, so if I'm going to do synthetic division with, let's say, x plus 4, which seems to be the answer if you got this right. I kind of want to get rid of this. Does this part make sense, Hono? This is why x plus 2 is proven to be a factor because negative 2 is a solution. We know if that is good. I will start. Yeah, it makes sense. Okay. You still trying?
2. I got rid of 2 of them when x equals negative 1.
Got it.
So it should be either x plus 2 or x minus 6.
Okay. 16. 4. And we've got. All right, so if we're going to test x plus 4, that would mean we'd be putting negative 4 here. So we bring this 1 down. This turns into negative 4. Add these, we get negative 15. We get positive 60. This gives us 76 times negative 4 is going to be negative 280 minus 24. So negative 304, I believe. So 28. I think that's right. And then clearly this is not going to give us 0. We're going to have a pretty big remainder. 300 minus 80. Negative 220, I think. So our remainder needs to be 0 in order for this to be a factor. And the point is this is not 0 here. If you divide those two things, you eventually get x squared minus 15x plus 76 plus a remainder of negative 220 over what we were dividing by, which is x plus 4. So x plus 4 cannot be a factor because this polynomial is not divisible by x plus 4.
So when you said that you rely on your calculator too much for these, what are you doing? Because this is actually a very good question to do on your calculator. You can plug it into your calculator, the graph it, and then you can trace it or set up the bounds to figure out what your x-intercepts are, and it'll either be at negative 2, negative 4, 6, or 7.
Well, it'll be at 3 of those, and it won't be at one of them.
Sorry, yes, it will not be at one of those.
Ah. Interesting. Now, if it was going to be like a decimal, like 1.7, would that have shown up in your table? Is your table only in terms of integers? Because if so, that'll work for this case, but it won't work for other cases.
And by you saw what factors equaled 0. Were you checking for, number 1 would be negative 2 on your table, not 2. And number 2 would be negative 4, not 4. Oh, interesting.
All right, so when you do it with x minus 6, it gives you a remainder of 0, which is great, which means that x minus 6 is in fact a factor. Do you like that? Are you cold?
No, I was yawning.
Because you're cold.
No?
Hey, it's going to be all right.
Oh, okay.
Levi's cold.
Thank goodness we have a...
Okay, Hono. I mean, yeah, do you get to use your calculator? That's how you find.
There we go.
On the test? Because if so, that's good. But a quicker way to do this, I think, is on your calculator, plug in negative 2 for x. Do you know how to save a number in for x on your calculator? Because once you do that, you can just type out the equation, press enter. It'll perform the equation for you, and you'll see if you get 0 or not. And then you can immediately put the next value in for x, type out the equation again, or actually scroll up and grab the equation the first time you wrote it in. Yeah, I do use that way too much. No, that's good. That's very good. That's very, very good. Unless you can't use that on the test, in which case it's probably a good idea to figure out how to do that on el papel, which means on the paper. I can use it on the test. All right. I think you should be fine then. Number 21. There's the other one.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay, you didn't know. Oh, very good. I love this. Ooh, oh, I wanna be with you. All right. Here we go. A ball is dropped from a height of 32 feet. It bounces and rebounds 80% of the height from which it was falling. The total downward distance in feet the ball traveled. Wait, am I missing the word? What is the total distance? What did you do?
I got a better quality image.
I doubt it. How'd you get one? Oh, there's what? Okay. That makes sense. What is the total downward distance in feet the ball traveled up to the 12th bounce? Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, okay, so let's think about if we didn't have to write out every single height here. Well, let's start out with what that would even be like. All right, so the very first downward distance it drops is 32.
Want me to draw a picture?
Sure. And then we want to find what height it gets to on the next bounce. We multiply this by 80%, which is 0.8. All right, so 32 is our first downward fall. Then it goes up to 80% of 32, and it falls that distance. So then we have 32 times 0.8. And then every successive bounce, we multiply by another 0.8. So we can use an exponent. That's what I'm looking for. All right, so this is bounce number 1, B1. Bounce number 2, B2, this is B3, and so on and so forth. All right. This is going to get us all the way to 32 times 0.8. Let's see. This is going to bounce 10. It's going to be one less than that. 9. Okay. We have to add up all of these. Okay. This is a geometric sequence because to get to the next term, we're multiplying by 0.8 every single time. Do you know the formula for adding up all the terms in a geometric sequence?
Well, I think this is pretty good, what Hono has written, the 32, but it's 1 minus 0.8. It should just be 0.8 because you're rebounding 80%, so you've lost 20%, so it should have been 1 minus 0.2 gives you 0.8, or just writing 0.8 at the beginning.
The problem is, though, we're adding up all these distances.
It's not the total distance?
It's not just finding the very last distance.
Have you done this type of thing, Hono? Where you have, like, this, you know.
Sigma notation to find sums.
It's an incredibly ugly sigma.
I mixed up the geometric and the arithmetic equations when you added them all. Oh.
I don't really care for memorizing those anyway.
Well, they definitely don't show up on... I mean, arithmetic sequence, adding up all of those, you need to know how to do that on the ACT, which comes up sometimes. I get the geometric one on the test, though. Okay, so in this case, I know the geometric series for an infinite geometric sequence, which is a1 over 1 minus r, but that's when something converges. So like 1/2 to the x or something will eventually converge to, you add 1/2 plus 1/4 plus 1/8 plus 1/16. It eventually turns into 1. Yeah. But this is not an infinite sequence. So there is a different formula here that I am... It's like an exponent or something like that. Do you know... Hold on, do you know what this one is? We could look it up really quickly.
Yeah, sure.
Geometric formula. Okay. Here it is. Finite. All right. A1 times 1 minus r to the n over 1 minus r. This guy right here, right? In which case our first term is 32. 1 minus, well, we're multiplying by each time. Our common ratio is 0.8. So 0.8. We're going until, the last term is the 10th term. So this is going to be the 10th, I believe. Oh my lord, I didn't watch this. Minkyo! Yo! Mink? Thank you. I'm glad you watched our review session. We got another one coming up. And it's very exciting. Levi, is the end going to be 9 or 10? Because we're doing, it's 10 terms.
I don't know.
Interesting.
And it's the number of terms.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, then this should be what we're doing here. So 32, 1 minus 0.8 to the 10th over 0.2.
You could feasibly brute force this. There are only 12 terms.
10 terms, 12 terms, 12 bounce. Oh, this is not E9 then. What am I doing?
Hey, Minkyo, are you free now? Because we are. We are prepping now.
Yeah. If you're taking the next one, we're here.
Yeah. We could probably get you extra credit.
Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, Hono, you just type this into your calculator and let it do all the heavy lifting for you. There's 12 terms. I'm sorry, it's not 10. Where did I get there's 10 terms? 12.
Oh, yes. Do it, Minkyo.
Yes!
Do it.
High five!
Making more money, Bird.
Yeah!
Or just getting more nutrients.
Yes.
More of that.
We convert questions into nutrients.
Yeah.
And we use the energy from those nutrients to produce our answers.
Yep.
It's simple biology.
And we have a little bit left over to take care of our son.
Yes. The newborn.
Yes. That's what we call him.
At some point, he won't be newborn anymore.
We give him the definite article. The newborn.
The newborn.
Not our newborn. Not newborn.
Not
just
a newborn.
The newborn.
Yes.
There actually was nobody born before or after our son.
Very good. Honomeru, I guessed right. Good. All right, we're very excited for you. You guessed right. That's a good guess. Yeah, I mean, clearly 29 is wrong, and 58 seems too small. Because you're going to get, what is, 4/5 of 32? It's going to be like 28 or something. You're going to pass 59 very quickly. So, yeah, it's going to either be 3 or 4. Anyway.
Also, for those of you who aren't people who have been commenting, please feel free to ask your questions in the chat or in the Discord. Doesn't matter to us. And we will
really don't
answer
care.
them. Yeah, we don't care.
Where
they
you
can
put it.
they can be general stuff too. It doesn't have to be, we're getting these and these are screenshots of people's questions that they're sending in, but we could also just, answer how, tips on reading or tips on is reading the only section?
Yeah, SAT is now just reading.
Yeah.
And it's not even that.
Yeah.
There's actually no sections anymore.
Most of the other sections got stuck together with Type-On glue.
Type-On, original wood glue. Pick it up at your local Home Depot. You must be dressed up as a dad.
It is the industry standard.
Yes.
Professional strength interior use.
Home Depot, made by dads, of dads, for dads. That's right, Home Depot is made of dads.
Yes, it is made of dads.
Just like the Great Wall of China.
Also made of dads.
Probably. Well,
Is that what you were getting at?
a lot of workers that died from exhaustion, they just threw them in the cement
Right.
because it would just take up space. I sent it in disc.
Did you? Goopy? Is your name Goopy?
Goop
Ooh,
word.
I like this.
Are you goopy?
Hey, which one do you want? Number 5026?
You want both? You want both red line ones?
Redlining. No. Ow. Goodness. It's fine, Bird. All right. What do you want?
It's not necessary at all.
I don't know. It's just in my head, dude. What do I do?
Showa, I think Showa is in both. Which one do you want to do?
I'll do 26.
Got it. All right, I'll
Do
do
you want to do
27.
26 at the same time?
If you got this, I'll just do 27 when you're done.
Got it. All right. Yay. This is kind of fun. It's like a full page on the side.
It is kind of fun.
Okay, so in this one we have a gear. What does that say? R to S? Gear ratio, R to S, is the ratio of the number of teeth of two connected gears. Sure. The ratio of the number of revolutions per minute, RPM, of the two gear wheels is S to R. That makes sense. I don't know if that's even necessary to think about, so I'm not going to address it right now, but it might be. In the diagram below, gear A, which is the little guy on the left, is turned by a motor. Great. The turning of gear A causes gears B and C to turn as well. All right. If gear A is rotated by the motor at a rate of 100 RPM, what is the number of revolutions per minute for gear C? All right. So yes, we do need this. If we have a gear ratio, so this is the teeth. I'm going to write this up here. So teeth is R to S. And we also know that RPM is S to R. This is actually sort of a wonky concept here, but it should make sense. It's saying the more teeth you have, because all these teeth are the same size. So the more teeth you have, the more time it's going to, or you're going to have fewer rotations per minute, right? So if you won't have this, but if you have one tooth, you're going to have a certain number of rotations per minute. If you have two teeth, you're double the size, so it'll take you twice as long to rotate one time around. So your rotations per minute is divided by 2. So as teeth goes up, RPM goes down, so we just have an inverse relationship between these two, which is a hard concept.
If you've ever seen gears working, you'll see gear A going very fast and gear B going very slow.
Yes, and gear C going even faster than gear A. So the more teeth you have, the faster you're going to go. Right?
Opposite.
Right. The more teeth you have, the fewer rotations you have per minute. There's a slow way to do this problem that's pretty straightforward, and there's a faster way. I'm going to do the faster way, which is to realize that gear B just doesn't matter, because it's just how many teeth are going through. So gear B is not speeding things up or slowing them down. It's just moving, and it's moving gear C. So we don't care about it. We know that the ratio for teeth for gear A to gear C, so A to C, is going to be R to S, where R is the teeth. So R and S are just the two different gears. So it would be 20 to 10. Does that idea make sense? So I totally left out gear B because I just don't care. It doesn't actually matter because it's just turning with the two gears next to it, but the number of teeth going through are the same. It's all, I mean, as a bigger ratio, it would be 20 to 60 to 10, which is A to B to C. But I don't really care about that. This is the actual important information. And then they want to know that if gear A is rotated by the motor at 100 RPMs, what is the number of revolutions per minute for gear C? Okay, so first I'm going to reduce this guy. This will be 2 to 1. Okay, so this is a 2 to 1 ratio. That means for every two teeth that gear A has, you have one tooth in gear C, which makes sense because it has twice as many teeth. So the RPM of gear A is half the RPM of gear C because we're just going to flip these. If this is R to S, and those are just randomly assigned variables, they don't actually mean anything, then you flip them for here. So A to C is going to be 1 to 2 for RPMs. Please let me know if that doesn't make sense, because this is a pretty heady problem. It's not necessarily, it's definitely not a common thing you see in math. And then from here we have our ratio. So if we have 1 to 2, and then we're going up to 100 RPM for gear A, what is it for gear C? Well, if we're going down to 100, then this would have to be 200. Or you could think of it as 1 over 100 equals 2 over x, and you solve for x, and that would give you 200. So it's 200 RPMs would be your answer. Does that make sense, Minkyo? This is straight up a hard problem, and I can explain it further and in more detail, but if you don't need that, then I won't.
I think that Levi knew that gear B was not going to matter, but that's a really hard jump to take that is probably not obvious to most students. So for most students, they'd probably do this in 2 steps, and first figure out what the RPM of B was, and then compare B to C, and you're still going to get the right answer.
So what you just asked, Minkyo, you find the ratio between A and C and then flip it. Yes. Now you could still do that with that B gear. I'm not saying, like, you don't, that's not math you need to know to answer this question. But your question, yes, you do have to realize that this relationship between the number, if you have teeth R to S, then you have RPM S to R. That has to happen. You could have this 60 in here, that's fine. Then you have 2 to 6 to 1. So I'm going to do it with A, B, and C. For A, B to C, we have given 20 teeth to 60 teeth to 10 teeth, which would reduce to 2 to 6 to 1. And now if we're reversing, we would just have to take this guy first. So this is A to B. And now the RPM for A to B would be 6 to 2. So if you start with 100 RPM for A, then you'd find out your B's RPM, and then you'd have 6 to 1, flip those, do the same thing, figure out your ratio, you will get to 200 RPM. Does that idea make sense? I don't want... Eliminating gear B doesn't matter for being able to do this problem. This switch is what matters. This is number 26 for a reason, though. It's one of the hardest questions on the no calculator.
Ah, very good.
Very good. A lot of sense, Bird. Okay, I will pull up your question.
Okay. You think that made a lot of sense? Just wait till we do number 27. Right, Levi?
Right. We always do 27. What is 27? Ooh, fun.
I think it involves a little bit of completing the square if I...
Think so?
I hope so.
All right.
I just briefly glanced at it, though, so I'll have to take a closer look.
Briefly glance at it. Uh-oh.
Firmly grasp it.
Alexa.
Alexa, bees? There's bees everywhere.
I'm going to put it on the left side for you, Bird.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How did you know?
Because you're lefty.
Bird. That just makes things more difficult for me.
Why?
Because I want to write on the left side of the screen.
No, but then you're blocked by the picture. If you're over there, then you're just blocked by the picture.
No. Like right here.
Yeah, I mean, kind of whatever.
As long as it's not that big.
Do you want it smaller?
No. As just in general, as long as the picture's not too big. Wait, so if it was on that side, I wouldn't be blocked by it, is what you're saying?
Yeah, you can stand on the very edge of the screen and fill up what you want.
True.
Whatever you like, Bird.
Anything?
Yes. Hey, Alexa, do you have any questions? Because you can only follow once, but well, actually, that's not true, but you can essentially only follow once, and you can ask as many questions as you want.
So many questions. The world is your oyster, or should I say the world is your beehive.
And this stream is your...
Because of all the bees.
Savior. It's not your savior, but it's your friend.
All right, so we have...
I'm going to go sit.
2x squared minus 6x plus 2y squared plus 2y is equal to 45. All right, so that is a circle. What is the radius of the circle? Okay, I love these kinds of problems. This does not look at all like the standard form equation of a circle. The standard form equation of a circle, hopefully you know this, but the standard form equation of a circle is this. Minkyo, do you know this formula? Does this formula make sense to you? If it does not, we will have to talk about this first, but if it does, then we can continue. Yes, I do. Good. Okay. Then we will continue. What we need to do is turn this up here into this form. Because this right here doesn't, the information from this is not clear. We don't know what the center is. We don't know what the radius is. It's not going to be fair. It's not going to be the square root of 45. Usually you think of a circle equation with radius squared on one side, and so you think, oh, that must be 45. No. We need to convert all of this stuff into these original factors. So here's how we're going to do it. First off, is there anything we can simplify? No. We got a bunch of even numbers here, but 45 is not even, so we're just going to have to leave it as is. we need to reassemble what the original factors must have been. And the way to do that is completing the square. Okay? So we go to first grouping the terms where they should be, which in this case the x terms are together. That's good. The y terms are already together, which is also good, is equal to 45. Okay? Minkyo, completing the square. Do you know how to do that? I'm going to start doing this here. These both have a 2 in them. I'm going to pull a 2 out, and I have x squared minus 3x. These both have a 2 in them. I'm going to pull a 2 out. We have y squared plus y equals 45. We have to figure out what to add to both of these in order to turn them into square trinomials. Can't you pull out a 2x and a 2y? So here's the thing. Yes, you can, but you don't want to. Because when we're completing a square, I will give you an example of one. We're going to have something like this. Let's say we had x squared minus 4x blank plus blank. When we say completing a square, we mean we're creating a square trinomial. And a square trinomial is one that can be factored into this form. Either x minus a squared or x plus a squared. So an example of one would be, I'm going to hide behind the box as Levi said I might end up doing. X plus 6 times x plus 6 is going to give us x squared plus 12x plus 36. This right here is a square trinomial because it can be factored into 2 of the same factors. Just like a square number, like 36, it's a square number because it can be factored into 6 and 6, which are both the same factors. All right. So we have to figure out how do we create a square trinomial if we don't know the very last number. Okay. And the way that you figure that out is think about where these numbers come from. Where does the 12 come from? The 12 comes from adding these two numbers together, and then the 36 comes from squaring or multiplying the two 6's together. So if all we have is 12, how do we go backwards and figure out what this number was originally? We divide by 2. Divide by 2, this turns into a 6, and then you square it, and it gives you that number right there. So in this case here, divide by 2, that gives us a negative 2. You square it, and then you get plus 4. This right here would be a square trinomial. You could factor this into x minus 2, x minus 2, okay? That's the central idea behind completing the square, is figuring out what that c term would be so that it's factorable back into its square factor, okay? So the reason that we don't want to pull out a 2x is if we do that, so we got, let's say this, so we have 2x times x minus 3. This is a dead end. We can't turn this into what we want it to be, which is x minus h squared. We want to turn it into a square factor. There's nowhere to go from here, okay? So we need to keep it just like this. We got to figure out what to add to this to be able to turn into a square factor. So we have x squared minus 3x. We want to divide that by 2. It's going to give us negative 1.5. And then we're going to add that squared, which is going to be, oh, jeez. Let's see what that is. 9 over 4, huh?
Yeah.
You're right.
Fractions, man. Decimals are boring.
9 over 4. All right, plus 9 over 4. All right, but here's the problem. We just added 9 over 4. We can't just add it out of nowhere. We got to do the other side. But we didn't exactly add 9 out of 4, 9 over 4, because there's still this 2 in front. So the actual thing we added here was 18 over 4. There's a lot of completing the square intricacies in this problem that aren't normally there. So if you don't know how to complete the square generally, we should probably go over that first. But this is how you would do this one, okay? So we just added 18 over 4. So I'm going to do that on this side as well. 18 over 4. Okay, and then in this case, if we take this, divide by 2, we get 1/2 y. So we have to add 1/4. So plus 1/4, which would really mean we are adding 1/2. All right, all right, all right. So now we can put these in their original factored form. Here we go. This is going to be 2 times, this is going to be x minus 3/2. Plus 2 times, this would be y plus 1/2 squared is equal to. Okay, let's see what this would be. 18/4 is simplifiable to 9/2. Plus 1/2 would be 10/2, which is equal to 5. 45 plus 5 is 50. So our radius squared term is 50, which means our radius is going to be the square root of 50. All right, there's a reason why this is problem number 27, because it's a little bit harder than problem number 26. That's why it's problem number 27. Just kidding, Levi. This is very, very messy, and I understand that. You've got to be very, very fluent with completing the square. So let's see. Levi was thinking that if we put the box on the left side. Levi, you might have been right.
It's all good.
You might not have been, though.
Yeah.
But you also might have been right.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on. Okay. Hold on. Huge thing. These 2's, they're not in the original form. We got to get rid of them by dividing everything by 2. So there's one last step. Divide everything by 2, we get 25. That's radius squared.
That's a headache.
And if that's radius squared, the radius is going to be 5. That's what the radius is going to be. My apologies. I forgot. I was planning on pulling those 2's out, but I just forgot. And frankly, it's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed. Oh, no, Minkyo. All good. Okay. Any questions on any of these parts?
Also, let me try one thing. We could also do this. You can graph this and look at the circle on your calculator.
Would you have to solve it for y, though?
Nah. It depends on the calculator, but there are ways to graph without that.
No. Minkyo, you can't do that because then you wouldn't be able to complete the square. You can only pull out 2's because there's going to be another term that you're going to add. Pulling out 2x or 2y will lead you to a dead end.
What was it again? 2y?
It's at the top.
2x squared.
Where can you put that in your calculator, though? Because isn't all the graphing in terms of y equals?
It depends on. I mean, I know I don't use the 84 much, but you can definitely do it on a
Inspire?
Inspire.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Which I want to make an overlay for, but this also works.
Yeah.
So 2x squared. Can you keep reading it actually?
2x squared minus 6x.
Yeah.
Plus 2y squared plus 2y
y
is equal to 45.
Plus 2y equals 45.
Yeah, so Levi has graphed it on Desmos, and you can see approximately where the center is, and you can figure out from that what your radius is. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Yeah, I think you can just... yeah, you obviously won't have Desmos, but...
all these numbers they give us are... Can you graph that on Inspire? Levi says yes.
Yes, you can. What kind of Inspire do you have?
Minkyo, question for you. If the trinomials start with x squared minus 8x, what would you have to add to make it a square trinomial?
The big blue one? I don't have the big blue one.
Wait, the old Inspire Cas. 16. Yes. All right, good. Now imagine instead if you took out x from both of these. So you have x times, well, you know what? Even better. I'm going to give you a 2 here and a 16 here.
I'll get rid of this.
And we're trying to figure out what to add there. If you were going to pull out a 2x, let's look at what would happen. X minus 8. You can't add a third. What would it even be? You've already got x term. You've got a number term. What would this would have to be?
Something over x.
Something over x. Yeah. Which is you get into crazy territory there.
So Minkyo, I'm not sure what your calculator looks like, but if you are in the graphing thing, you definitely can't see this, but you're on graphing, and normally it has the y equals. If you click menu, and then go to graph entry or edit, which on mine is number 3, but graph entry / edit, and then go to equation, and then it gives you the option. It's kind of cool actually. So graph entry or edit, then equation, and then it gives you the option of line, parabola, circle, ellipse, hyperbola, conic. And then you can just do circle, and then choose the form, center or
form.
standard.
Oh, that's cool.
And then you can plug it all in.
Oh, so this is center form, not standard form. Trapsy! Boys!
Trapsy!
I haven't seen you in a while.
Gotta keep that voice down, Trapsy.
Yeah, man.
I was yelling.
Kind of hurts my eardrums.
Yeah. Bum bum bum.
Bum bum bum.
Eardrum.
That's 8x. I've been busy. Wait,
talking to me, Minkyo? Yeah. So go to the graphing thing on your calculator where you start graphing stuff. I have menu, graph entry / edit, equation, circle. I'll write that in the chat. Actually, let me look at the calculator online for you. Oh boy.
Minkyo, do you see the dead end here by taking out 2x? Got it. Minkyo says got it.
Cool.
So sick. So unbelievably diseased. Or as Brendan used to say, bedridden before the accident. Now he's bedridden. Cool. Fun stuff. Love number 27, man. Seriously, number 27, there were times in high school where, I don't know, things were stressful, I was lonely, but number 27 got me through the day. All right, what are we doing next, Levi? Traps, you got any questions? You got any concerns? Are you worried about something? Are you hopeful about something? You want to just share some fun life events with us? Any weddings or new births in the family? Any divorces or deaths? I guess is the opposite. It's whatever you want. You can tell us nothing. You can tell us everything. We're here for you. That's the important thing. Trapsy, we're here for you. And we're worried about you. So you have a tendency to keep things in and not even show up on the stream. We know you're not doing that because you don't feel comfortable telling us everything. Make sense? There we go. There you go. What are you looking up, Levi?
Calculator emulators.
Oh. You gonna be able to set that up right now? Like you're gonna find one on the internet?
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna look at let's see the Discord. See anything's going on in that.
Nothing in the Discord.
Nothing on the Discord.
Nothing in the Discord.
All right. Should we talk Conics then?
Hopefully.
All right. If there are no other questions, I will begin talking about conics. Very good. We just touched on circles, and I guess if we just touched on them, that would be a tangent line, right? Nice. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. I'm excited about that one. Here is what is now referred to as the center form of a circle, which I did not know. We've been calling this standard form. This is the form you need to know for the ACT, SAT. All right? The way that this works is your center is given by h comma k, and your radius is given by r. So if you have a circle, let's say it looks like this. All right, we're going to make this 4, 1. Radius is going to be 3. All right. Keep in mind that we subtract the x-coordinate of the center and the y-coordinate of the center. We subtract them. So they're positive numbers, but I just realized the stream title is gearing up, and my first question was on gears. Oh!
Yeah,
Minkyo, it's about time you figured that out. We knew that was going to happen. That's what we called it that. And we were just waiting for you to figure it out. So, that's awesome, man. Yeah, gears. They're wets for breakfast.
Yeah?
Yes, big time. All right. So this circle is going to be, our h is 4. X minus 4 squared. Don't forget it's a squared. Plus y minus 1 squared is equal to r squared. Our r is 3. So it's 3 squared, which is going to give us 9. All right. Now, if your circle is centered at the origin, your h and k will be 0. So the equation would be this. Does that look familiar? It should. It is Pythagorean theorem. Exactly. The x is standing in for the a. The y is standing in for the b. The radius is standing in for the c. Why would Pythagorean theorem come up in a circle? Why? Good question. I'm glad you asked that, me. Because a circle is a collection of all of the points that are a certain distance away from a central point. All of them are the same distance away from a center point. If you take like a ball on a rope and you swing it around on your head, that ball is going to carve out a circle because that rope is not changing its length. That rope length is the radius. Okay? I don't know why that's the thing that comes to mind, but it is. You know, sue me. Don't actually sue me. I mean, try. What's the case? That I'm using a weird example? Good luck with that. So a circle. That's centered at the origin. Not a great circle, but this point here will be a point on the circle if the distance is the radius. And how do we figure that out? Well, we take the distance. So between, if that's point x comma y, then the sides of this small right triangle will be x and will be y. So right there, if these add up to our radius, which is our hypotenuse, then that point will be the correct distance away from the center, meaning it will be on the circle. All points on the circle are the same distance away from the center. So x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared. It doesn't matter if the points have negative x and y values because you square them. And negatives become positive when you square them. Very exciting. All right, that's circles. Now we're going to talk about ellipses. Ellipses are a good time. You're actually in an ellipse right now. We don't circle the sun in a circular orbit because things do not orbit in circles. None of them do. They orbit in ellipses with the thing that you're orbiting around at one of the foci, or the focus points. Foch word. I've got this Fleetwood Mac song stuck in my head.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's a nice song. I don't know why everyone hates them. Especially you.
Yeah, you know how I've always said I hate that band.
Minkyo. Yes, it is. I love it too. It's weird. It's just like exactly what I need to see. I don't know. Actually, that wasn't that great. I have to let it dry first, and then once it's dry, it just goes away.
Hey, Minkyo, unfortunately, we can't actually erase that much stuff unless you ask more questions. So if your motivation for asking questions is getting satisfying erasing done, then that's good.
It is good. It should mean that you should ask more questions. The reason why Levi and I do all this is because we also like erasing stuff. But not just doing it alone. Like, we want to do it in front of people. Yeah,
we actually do an ASMR stream where we thread a microphone through my ear to the back of my skull, and you can hear the neurons firing, and it's ASMR.
They sound like snaps.
Right. It's like that's what ASMR is an acronym for.
I got like moral questions, but it just feels like the stream will be aimed towards only to me, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yes, we do.
And we like that.
Yeah, that's what we want.
Minkyo, we want this stream to explode, but until then, we will service your questions. It's just like having two tutors at the same time.
Yeah. So here's the deal. Ask us all your questions. Maybe don't put all of those questions that you have in the Discord, but like put 5 or 10 at a time. It doesn't really matter. And, you know, ideally the ones that are actually giving you trouble. And we'll do those. If other people ask questions, then we'll hop away from yours and then come back once we've done someone else's question. So if 2 people, 3 people put stuff in, then we'll just do them and cycle through.
But until then, we are at your beck and your call. Hey, you want to do the thing from Star Wars? Here, choke me from afar.
Who's Star Wars? I like it when you get mad. Choke you from like.
So stay there.
This far away?
No. Just hold up your arm as though you're choking me, like it's like a telekinetic thing. No, you don't need to choke yourself. Here, put it down, and do it forcefully. Let me down.
This is dumb.
What do you mean? It's fun.
No.
Kids like that. Stop.
I didn't mean to.
That's one of my favorite markers.
That's not your favorite marker.
Yeah, it's one of mine. One of my favorite markers. Yeah.
Feels strange, Bird.
Why?
I don't know.
What feels strange?
I.
Check the Discord. You feel strange?
Yes.
Why?
I don't know. But I do. I don't feel good.
About what?
Me.
Things in general?
Yeah, it's right now.
Yeah.
I feel very off.
Well, you know why? It's because of your foot.
Yeah?
You know what? Swimming would be a good exercise for you.
Yeah, but
There's no pool.
Yeah, there's very few pools in New York City.
Yeah. Number 21. There's an
Number
empty
21.
one near our gym.
Oh, hey, Minkyo, not to be beggars being choosers, but can you rotate that image just a little? Just a little. Yeah. Just like that. Make that noise, it should work.
It should make that noise if you're doing it right.
Yep.
Is there any way we can have to, like, flip it or no?
It might be possible, but I don't think so.
Let's see.
Like, is it possible to grab
Can you turn
these
that
corners?
and flip them?
I don't think so. Oh boy, that's not what I wanted.
Maybe, like, is there a, you know, like, I don't know.
Thank you. 20 who? Oh, let's open the original for sure. 21. Very good. I love the writing section. Love it. Okay, so let's see what we can do with this. Okay, what kind of question do we have here? Just looking at the answer choices, we should be able to recognize stuff. So we have, I'm going to read it from over here. Cush and the entire civilization came before the pharaohs of Egypt. Ooh, okay, so C has a semicolon. D has a comma, B has a comma, and the given A has commas as well. So we're doing commas. This is where you should start on this type of question. Not that you can't get this question right, not starting with answer choice C, but you should start with answer choice C because all the others just have commas, and C has a semicolon. So you want to start with C because you know the rule for if you don't know the rules for semicolons, then we need to talk about that first. And if you don't know the 4 uses of commas on the ACT or SAT, then we need to talk about that first before doing this problem. But I'm going to assume until you write in the chat that you're not fully comfortable with all those rules, that you are. So C, we need 2 independent clauses. Do we have that? I'm going to just blow this up a little bit more because I actually can't read it that well. Okay. All right. So before the semicolon in C, so up to Cush, the first Cush, we have, this is, wow, I can't read any of these words. This is Moreau. Although there is no printed sign to tell the visitor that this is all that is left of this ancient city of the Cush. Oh wow. Okay, so actually the independent clause is this is Moreau. That's interesting. So the very first 3 words of this sentence are the independent clause, and then we have a non-essential. So before the semicolon, we're pretty good. After the semicolon, do we have an independent clause? We would have, the Cush civilization came before the pharaohs of Egypt. Yeah, that's also an independent clause. So maybe that's fine, but maybe in context this would be weird. Now, so I'm not saying C is wrong because it actually seems like C, that the semicolon might be okay, but I want to keep going because I'm a little uncomfortable with that. Let's go to A, which you chose. Oh no, the D is the right answer, but you chose A originally. Okay, so let's look at A. We have, this is Meroe, although there is no printed sign to tell the visitor that this is all that is left of the ancient city of the Cush. The Cush civilization came before the pharaohs of Egypt. Okay. So this is an independent clause problem. In A, what we have after the comma, after Cush, is we have the Cush civilization came before the pharaohs of Egypt. That is an independent clause. And we know that because when we looked at C, we decided we had 2 independent clauses, or an independent clause on either side. In A, we don't. We have an independent clause at the end, but we're separating our 2 independent clauses with a comma. You're not allowed to do that. That's called a comma splice. So we have an independent clause. This is Meroe, followed, yes, so A is a comma splice, good. So A is no good for that reason. B, probably a similar thing. Oh no, in B, we have, and the civilization came before the pharaohs of Egypt. That is okay, I think, just for the same reason that C is okay. They both have 2 independent clauses, and they're separated by, B is separated by a comma fanboys, which is an okay way to do it, and C is separated by a semicolon, which is another okay way to do it. Let's look at D. We have, this is Meroe, although there is no printed sign to tell the visitor that this is all that is left of the ancient city of the Cush, a civilization that came before the pharaohs of Egypt. Okay, so this one, we've changed the ending phrase of the sentence to no longer be an independent clause, which is nice. Now it's just another non-essential. I'm not actually sure yet why B and C are wrong, but this test does not strike me as an official one, so maybe that's why, because I've actually never seen a question where a semicolon could be used and be grammatically correct, but not be the right answer. But I'm going to read it one more time. Maybe there's some sort of redundancy or something. This is Meroe, although there is no printed sign to tell the visitor that this is all that is left of the ancient city of Cush. However, the civilization came before it. Yeah, I mean, in C, I don't know why we would say however. That relationship between the 2 ideas, that this is Meroe and there's no printed sign, and the civilization came before the pharaohs of Egypt, I don't know why you'd connect those with the word however. It's not a logical transition. So that's why I would get rid of C. And B, I think it's less concise than D. So this question is not well made because it's dealing with separating independent clauses, and it's dealing with comma splices and things like that. But then it also throws in concision in a way that's a little bit misleading. So the answer is D. Do you want me to keep explaining, or do you feel comfortable with this one? The approach to this entire section is proving 3 answers wrong. I get confused because I saw the although. Yeah, it's weird because you're expecting your independent clause to be a bigger portion of that first phrase, and it's not. It's like saying, I study for the SAT, although it's very whatever. So the although makes it a dependent clause, everything after it, right? Although I love to eat chocolate, I have to watch my figure. I have to watch my figure is the independent clause. Although I love to eat chocolate, that's our dependent clause. Normally, when you have the dependent clause after the independent clause, you don't put a comma, which is another reason why the sentence is confusing. If you took away the comma after Meroe, you would just say, this is Meroe, although there is no printed sign to tell the visitor. That, to me, makes a little bit more sense. I think this sentence is just oddly phrased. It's a weird thing to say, this is Moreau, or this is New York, or something. It's a strange turn of phrase. Are you pleased with what I have said thus far? Would you like to move on, or do you want me to keep talking about this one? So D is just some info explaining Cush. Yes, yeah, it is. So with these, you don't have to feel great about the answer. Honestly, you shouldn't, okay? You should feel really good about proving the other 3 answers wrong. So I think we can feel pretty good about A being wrong because it's a comma splice once you've identified your independent clauses. B and C are fine grammatically, and D is also fine grammatically. So then you have to figure out, okay, before you get to just gut feeling of what sounds nice, you have to think, okay, do I need all this information? And I think that B and C are a little bit stilted and not as concise as D. This one is hard, though. And I think it's a question that's a little bit less straightforward than anything you'd actually see. Oh, wait, what's the wait for? Or is D not the right answer? The city of the cushion is a civilization that came before the fires. I really hope you're not saying, oh, wait, because D is incorrect. Because it does actually seem correct to me. A civilization that came before... No. A civilization that came before the pharaohs of Egypt. Okay, so there are 2 commas, true. But you can have non-essentials stacked on each other. So we can say I tutor Minkyo, a student at where do you go to? Let's say Jefferson, because that's where you go to school. I'm making that up. If that's actually where, I swear to God I didn't know. I just made it up. I'm gonna get rid of this. I tutor Minkyo, a student at Jefferson High School, the best school in the U.S. Okay? So, I tutor Minkyo, a student at Jefferson High School, the best school in the U.S. Yes, you do have 2 commas here and here, right? One there and one there. And yes, commas do offset non-essentials. You can call them appositives as well. But if you have 2 commas, yes, sometimes your non-essentials in the middle and your independent clause flows over it. But that's not actually what's happening, okay? In this case, we have I tutor Minkyo, a student at Jefferson High School. That describes Minkyo. I forgot the O. I'm sorry. But this, the best school in the U.S., describes Jefferson High School. So you can have this, where a non-essential has its own baby non-essential. It's like your dog having its own pet. Or, I don't know, your tutor having a tutor.
A baby being pregnant with a baby.
You want to say that on stream or no? I think maybe not. I think it's hilarious.
After the beginning, now you're right.
Okay. And then the other situation when you do have 2 commas is I tutor Minkyo, a student for the, what are you taking, SAT? All right, so in this case, we have 2 commas here and here, and we have a student, which describes Minkyo, but for the SAT is not a non-essential for a student, of course. A student is not for the SAT. That doesn't really make sense. We have I tutor Minkyo for the SAT. So our independent clause, for all intents and purposes, is the beginning and the end, and we're just hopping over. Does that explanation make sense, Minkyo? That is extremely important. Just because you have 2 commas and you know they're dealing with non-essentials doesn't mean the middle is a non-essential and what's left over still makes sense. So in the question in question, Kush is the civilization because we're talking about the city of Kush, or the city of the Kush. That's like the city of the Romans, right? The city of the Romans, a civilization that existed before whenever. Or the city of the Cush, a civilization that came before the pharaohs of Egypt. Does this make sense? This is hard. I'm going to erase this stuff. This is very odd. You're very odd. Hopefully, being odd is good. Yes, this is odd. Do you want another example of these things down here, or do you want to go on to other questions of yours? It's about context mainly. Well, obviously, you're saying to yourself, okay, here are my commas. Where are the non-essentials? What do I think logically this piece should be describing? Or is it just following from something else? I walk, comma, slowly but surely, comma, or to school. So those commas are offsetting the non-essential that's in the middle, but you could have nested non-essentials. There's lots of stuff you can do. I get it, but I just never saw this comma thing before. With a non-essential at the end of another non-essential. It happens in more complicated writing. Yeah, it's straight up pretty hard. I think the hardest thing about this problem is this is Moreau, although there is no that's weird. I don't like that. I think that generally it's a little bit clear. If you have an independent clause followed by a dependent clause, you don't need a comma in between them because you have the word although that separates them. But this one is hard for sure. You can think of it, it's sort of waterfalling. You could say, I tutor Minkyo, comma, the brother of Mike, comma, the brother of Sally, comma, the sister of Mike. You could do that and just keep going down the line, adding non-essentials that describe the thing right before it. So I tutor Minkyo. So before the comma, if there's an independent clause, that comma thing is possible. Yeah. And the comma here, okay. I'm going to make this really annoying. We could make this very, very complicated, and then it's all about identifying where your independent clause is. We could say I tutor Minkyo, whose sister Sally is taller than Brady, my friend, for the SAT. Okay? I tutor Minkyo, whose sister Sally is taller than Brady, my friend, for the SAT. Okay, so obviously we have a lot of commas. There are 4 uses of commas. All of these commas are for non-essentials. We want to identify our subject and verb. Here we have I tutor Minkyo. Now, you know what? I'm going to make this even more complicated. I'm going to add on in the front a nice... or let's say, staving off exhaustion. Staving off exhaustion, I tutor Minkyo, whose sister Sally is taller than Brady, my friend, for the SAT. Okay, so our non-essential is not beginning this sentence. We have staving off, not evolutions. We gotta make sure we're not staving off evolution, Brady.
Heyo.
Yeah. Staving off exhaustion, I tutor Minkyo. All right, so this is a non-essential here. This is describing I, or me, okay? And then this is our independent clause. I tutor Minkyo, so we have our subject, we have our verb. This is technically the object. Not that that really matters. So staving off exhaustion, I tutor Minkyo, whose sister, Sally, is taller than Brady. So whose sister, Sally. This Sally is describing sister. Okay, so that's a non-essential here. Whose sister is taller than Brady. So this whole thing. Oh, and then we have my friend, which is describing Brady. And then this entire thing here is describing Minkyo, right? Staving off exhaustion, I tutor Minkyo, whose sister Sally is taller than Brady, my friend, for the SAT. This is finishing off the independent. It's not technically part of the independent clause, but for our purposes on this test it is. This is technically a prepositional phrase, but that doesn't really matter for the test. I'm going to put it in so people don't think I don't know what I'm talking about, but it doesn't actually matter to know what that is for this test. Does this idea make sense? You can have an incredibly complicated sentence with a lot of non-essentials. If you are aware of where your independent clause or clauses are, then from there you can build out what your non-essentials are and what things they describe and make sure they describe the right things. It's always going to describe the thing immediately before it, or in this case, immediately after it. Do you have any questions on this, Minkyo? I really hope you're still here. Otherwise, made a really dumb sentence for nothing.
Never for nothing.
Never for nothing, Bird.
Never for nothing.
Just to hear myself talk, at the very least.
Hello.
Everything's coming together. Yes, exactly. Good. So you feel more of a sense of clarity on this? What I would recommend is going through one of the reading passages and identifying where your independent clause is in every sentence. Now, some of the sentences end up being weird, and writers can take liberties. They won't test you on those liberties. But aside from the very weird sentences, yeah, it's about practicing identifying what those things are. Would you like to do more questions with commas? Because commas are the hardest part of the punctuation on either test. Do you want to go through some commas questions? Or, and for yourself, I would recommend going through the reading section and just, circling every piece of punctuation and saying exactly what it does. So this comma is a non-essentials comma. This comma is a listing comma. This comma is a comma fanboys comma. This comma is a DC comma IC comma. This dash is offsetting the non-essential. Here's the non-essential. Here's the thing it describes. Here's my subject. Here's my verb. If you can identify subject and verb, and then you can identify non-essentials, that's it. That's everything you need to be able to identify, because then the punctuation fills itself in service of those relationships. Okay, I'm going to erase this. I feel good with commas, but this one just messed up. But anyway, I feel that diction is the hardest question type. Are you a native English speaker, Minkyo? Diction can be very difficult, depending on your vocabulary and your familiarity with idiomatic usages of words in the English language. You are not a native English speaker. That makes sense as to why diction doesn't work for you very well, because some of the test is just idioms. It's just, have you heard this before? No? You're cooked. Guess. That's kind of half of those questions for non-native English speakers, which is a bummer. Choosing the right prepositions that follow particular verbs, it's a crapshoot. There's no point in me teaching you. The best way to prepare for that is to read. That's really the only thing you can do about it. But reading's fun, so that's good. Why don't we can pull up one of the SATs or ACTs and just look at a couple if you'd like. We can do one that you've done, maybe one that you've not done. You are SAT, correct? Have you done test 1? The practice-free online SAT. Any tips on recognizing question types quickly and effectively? Yeah. Yes, SAT. Okay, so I need to talk to Brady about that, so never mind, I'm not going to say that. I've done all 8. Whew, okay, so let's go back to number 1, because you probably haven't done that in a while. I'm just going to pull it up and we can look through. Do you remember number 1? Like, is it fresh in your mind, or is it from, 6 months ago or something? Try the number 8. Sure. It will be done.
Aha.
We also only have a couple minutes left. Stupid mouse. Okay. SAT 8. Bam. Okay. Bear with me. How do you feel about this one? Are these good or no good for you? Number 2 is what I'm talking about. So number 2 says which choice best maintains the style and tone of the passage. Is this the type of thing, or is it different types of word choice things? Because this is technically a word choice question. It's also what I would call a direction question, where it's not so much which word is grammatically correct or actually means exactly what you want to say. Okay. So, best maintains the style and tone of the passage. Generally, these passages are going to be pretty formal. Again, as a non-native English speaker, it might be difficult to pick up on some turns of phrase that make things more playful or extra formal, but generally you can rest assured that most of the passages are pretty formal and straightforward. And then it deals with connotation of words and when we like to idiomatically use them, and this can be really hard. So I have a relatively easy time with these because I read all the time, and I've been doing this test for a long time, but more because I just read a lot. And so that makes it easier. So this is what I call a direction question, and that means you have to do exactly what they ask you to do because they actually write a question out for you. So don't get mixed. This is not about. This one is pretty obvious that it's not, but this one is not about grammar. It's not about punctuation. It is about choosing the word that does what. Best maintains the style and tone. Okay, of the passage. Great. So this passage's style and tone is pretty formal, so let's just stick with that and see how far we get. I'm going to read from the beginning of the sentence. It also enhances soil. Okay, it also enhances soil texture, encouraging healthy roots and maintaining minimizing or annihilating, in this case, the need for chemical fertilizers. Okay. So I would not choose annihilating because the connotation of the word annihilating is utter destruction, and it's a very war-related term, and more about it's utter destruction. That's how I would describe it. It's you would annihilate an enemy, but you would not annihilate like a fly that you slap off your shoulder or something. You'd smush it, you'd kill it, whatever. So the connotation of the word annihilate, I think, is too strong for this situation. We're minimizing, we're reducing something. So eliminating, pretty good. Ousting, the connotation for that is much more human than what we have here. So you would not use, so oust is a verb that refers to, a coup and kicking a queen off of her throne or something like that. Overthrowing some sort of government, you oust that government. You would not oust the need for chemical fertilizers. That doesn't really make sense. And then closing the door on, that's a little bit too informal. It's a metaphorical use of closing the door on, but you don't want a metaphor here either. You're just saying minimizing or reducing the need for chemical fertilizers. I think that eliminating works best. It's very straightforward. You're eliminating something. It doesn't have much of a connotation, really. You just eliminate it. It just get rid of. It's a very straightforward word that is generally not used metaphorically. You don't want a metaphorical use. Now, everything I just said, I just said it to you, and maybe you'll remember all of that, but that's just these 4 words or these 4 phrases. And that's really hard to teach enough of these things. Seeing the words in written English is by far the best way to do this, and you have to see them consistently, and it's hard. Did you know the answer to number 2 was eliminating? Did you feel comfortable with this one right off the bat? The stuff I said is from reading. I don't think people taught me these things necessarily. I saw them in context. I also read a lot of fantasy, so ousting, I know. That was one of the easier ones. Okay. Yeah, let's find one more, and then we got to go for the night. Bert, do you want to do anything?
No.
Okay.
I have a call with a parent that I want to talk to you about first.
Okay. Yes, okay, great. That's awesome. The fact that you feel like they sounded harsh is really good. That is your gut feeling. These are gut feeling questions based on how much you read. What about number 9? Number 9 right here, we have potent, sturdy, influential, and commanding. Those are pretty different. How do you feel about number 9? We're describing a greenhouse gas. We're describing methane, the gas. So these words have different connotations. I think that, again, 3 of these are pretty outlandish. Let me know what you think the answer should be. In my opinion, I don't know why you would describe a gas as sturdy or influential or commanding. I think that all 3, B, C, and D, are terrible. Yeah, B and D are out. Just so you know, you have 2. So in the sentence that you just did there, it's B and D are out because you have 2 things that are doing that verb to be, which is in this case, and it shouldn't be is. It shouldn't be, because that's like saying Brady and Minkyo is. You should say Brady and Minkyo are, so B and D are. Maybe that was just a typo, but you did it once before as well. Yeah, so B and D are out. Influential, that means that you have influence, and that is almost always talking about people. It's not talking about gas. Methane is not influential. Okay. Don't know what the O is referencing. Hopefully about the is versus are, maybe. If you learned something big there, that's good. That would be good to know. I'm going to head out, but Brady and I will be back. Hey, Bird, do you want to say bye?
Yes.
You love saying bye.
Goodbye.
No, Bird.
What?
Yes,
What?
thanks for correcting me there.
Have you talked about what's in the corner?
No, we need to do that.
Shoot. All right. Well, it'll come up in a second. Hey, do you have trouble organizing your scheduling and when you're going to do your homework and what kind of goals you should be working on in school? Because if you are having trouble with those things, then look no further at...
But don't look at all
Yet.
Look.
Now. Alta Ipsum.
Alta Ipsum.
It's a program.
Yeah.
It's free for a month.
Yeah, but only once you download it. It's not free right now. You're actually paying through the nose to not have it. So you should pay for it. You should get it for free.
Compared to how free it is, you're paying a lot right now.
Because you're not paying anything, but you're also not getting anything.
Works on your phone, works on your computer.
Yep.
Grade tracking, goal planning, scheduling homework, when you're going to study, when you're going to write tests. It does it all for you.
You can tell it that you're going to do stuff, and then it'll say, okay, here's when you should study, or here's when you should prep, and then you can manipulate those things yourself.
Why do you like stress? You don't. You just export your stress to the app.
Brady and I get very stressed on stream, and we just look at this Alta Ipsum thing, and we just put the stress in
I feel
there.
like I'm home,
Yeah.
where I'm really stressed out.
Home is where the stream is. Oh, the stream.
Absolutely not. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But that should be your new home.
Yes. Have a good night, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow, and we'll be back Friday because Saturday is the SAT, so we're doing a cram session. So hopefully we'll be on a little bit longer than normal. But have a lovely evening. No problem, Inkyo. No problem.